Call this September 17, 2012 meeting in order, and ask you all please stand and we'll recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call roll, please.
Ms. Gracilius?
Here.
Mr. Cromwell? Mr. Feldsing?
Here.
Shrimpy? Mr. Shadle?
Here.
Mr. Tyler?
Here.
Chairman Manchester?
Here. Paul, you have the minutes motion from August 20.
Yes, I do. I move that the reading of the minutes for August 20, 2012 be waived and that the minutes of said meeting as prepared by the secretary be approved as written.
Second.
Second by Kathy and Earl. Discussion, any additions or corrections? Call roll.
Mr. Feldsing?
Aye.
Mr. Shadle?
Aye.
Mr. Tyler?
Aye.
Ms. Gracilius?
Aye.
Chairman Manchester?
Aye. Kathy, you have the Renaissance Area Master Plan
Yes, sir.
question.
Yes, sir. I move that a resolution entitled "A Resolution Constituting the Final Report of the Paducah Planning Commission on the Addition of the Renaissance Area Master Plan Ramp as an element of the Comprehensive Plan and recommend same to the City Commission be removed from the table and immediately retabled until October the 15th.
Second.
October the 15th would be less than 2 days a month. What can you tell us about the status?
They are meeting on September, the PRDA board's meeting on September the 15th.
That was 2 days
Saturday.
ago.
Yeah, and
Saturday.
I don't know if they have made any changes or not. We haven't heard anything
They haven't
today
seen-
that I know of.
Okay. I'm going to hand that down to you.
But
Well,
our
let's see
recommendation
now,
is
this has been in front of us, what, since May?
Something like that.
What do I?
We've been pushing it back and pushing it back. I know it costs money, I don't know how much, to have to publish this for a public hearing. You all know exactly the same thing I do. Zero at this point. Motion been made to take it from the table and immediately retable for October 15, which would be a month from now, our regular meeting on a Monday.
the recommendation was to the October 1st meeting.
No,
15th.
October 15th is what my recommendation was. That's why I sent you that. That's why I passed that down to you.
15th.
Give us some time to look at it.
Yeah. Any discussion on the motion? Who seconded that motion? John and Shadle. Call roll.
Ms. Gracilius?
Aye.
Mr. Cromwell? Mr. Feldsing?
Aye.
Mr. Shadle?
Aye.
Mr. Tyler?
Aye.
Chairman Manchester?
Aye. John, you have Premier Properties, 2660 of Olivet Church Road.
Yes, I
Motion.
do. I move the resolution entitled Resolution Constituting the Final Report of the Paducah Planning Commission on the Preliminary Development Plan for Property Located at 2660 Olivet Church Road be adopted.
Second.
Second by Felson. Discussion.
I guess there was a couple items that was staff had recommended. 2 comments.
Josh, you know about that?
Yes. The 2 comments that we have is install screening on the south property line adjacent to the residential home in the county. And number 2 is widen the ingress-egress easement to 30 feet to comply with section 126-71 G8 of the Paducah zoning ordinance.
Has that been done on any plans submitted to you?
No, we haven't seen a revised one yet that I know of, Jason. I guess you're working on it. But
Can't-
yeah, that's an easy fix. Yeah.
That's an easy fix. The other one, I'm not, the ingress egress, what is that?
Widen that to 30 feet because it's minor arterial.
That's the first I've heard of that.
Okay. I know that Angie had sent that comment out last week.
Well, if it's not hard to fix, is there any big rush to get this done tonight? Otherwise, we can table it to our next meeting, which will be the 1st of October.
No, I mean, I'd like to get it approved tonight with that being noted, I suppose.
Well,
That's not a problem, I don't know how.
Yeah, that's something we can review on the site plan level. That's not a problem.
all right.
We could do an approval subject to those items being addressed.
You need to discuss this with the, okay. With the approval being granted, if it passes tonight, will be subject to those 2 corrections being made. Otherwise, it'll be in limbo from now on. Thank you. Call the roll.
Mr. Shadle?
Aye.
Mr. Tyler?
Aye.
Ms. Crecilius?
Aye.
Mr. Felsey?
Aye.
Chairman Manchester?
Aye. Earl, you have the Higdon Development Waiver requested at 3960, 3970 Coleman Crossing Circle.
Yes, sir, I do. I move that this commission receive and file the application of Hendon Development Incorporated for proposed re-subdivision of property located at 3960 through 3970 Coleman Crossing Circle. I further move that the requested approval be given and compliance with all other applicable provisions of the Paducah subdivision ordinance be waived.
Second.
Second by Felson. Is there any discussion about this? Apparently there's going to be, because I know there's several things noted that the property lines to be established or not.
Jason,
I
did
do
you
know
have a,
I did get the comments on these, and those have been made on this.
All right.
And I can give everyone
About
copies
the
if they need it.
sanitary sewer easement, whether it's public or private.
Yeah, I can kind of give you the rundown on that sewer. There was an issue with that. We field located where a sewer force main was installed, and it was apparently out of the easement. The comment that Angie had made was, if that's the case, there needs to be new sanitary sewer easements established in those areas where it was installed outside the existing easements. After discussion with Paducah McCracken Joint Sewer Agency and the contractor, it has been determined that they're going to force the contractor to install, relocate the sewer main in the existing easement. The survey or the plat that you have shows where that sewer line is, and actually today Angie received a letter from the Joint Sewer Agency stating that, and that, as far as I understand, that satisfies that requirement. We're not establishing a new easement on this. The only purpose of this plat was to establish the new property lines, and that was just something that was caught when we located the sewer on the survey.
So it's private.
No, it's a public
It is.
public utility easement and a public sewer, but for whatever reason,
On private property.
well, yeah, it missed the easement.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
And the other comment, I've got revised copies of the plat showing property lines to be, that wording was placed on there. Ingress egress easement for public access, and the addresses were noted as well, yes.
So all 5 of the things have been satisfied is what we're
Correct.
saying. Okay.
Tell me, how does the fact that the sewer line, which is public, lies outside of the easement, which was granted to them at some point, what happens? my own edification.
Well, I don't know that it's my place to say what happened specifically, but generally it's just, if a contractor lays out he just gets the location laid out improperly, I would assume. But that's, I don't know that for a fact.
Blame or anything. I just want to know what happens if they don't move it. They being a big broad term as who is responsible.
I would say, well, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know what rights that JSA has. Normally in that situation, there's a bond placed on a job like that, and if there's something that was not done properly and they fail to correct the issue, then the entity like JSA would cash the bond and repair it themselves.
Somebody had to sign off on it, right?
Yeah, that's...
That it was in the...
Theoretically, yes.
Thank you. I know it's a tough question. And
But
like I say,
again-
I'm not affixing any blame. I just want to know what happens so that 3 years from now we come back and there's still an easement that has a utility permit right to build in it, and the sewer's not in the easement or whatever it is we're talking about.
Yeah, that would have to... that would be a question for JS. I don't know. I did not read the letter they sent to Angie today. There may be some verbiage in there that somehow, with some penalty. I don't know. I don't know how they're...
Okay.
But just something to add to that, a lot of times on a sewer easement only, they will, the way the easement is worded in the deed, it is just to be centered along the sewer main that was installed. So in other words, they don't tie it down to an exact dimension. The contractor lays a sewer line and the deed reads the easement is to straddle that sewer line. Well, in this case, it was so far, in other words, if it's 5 or 10 feet, not a big deal. In this case, JSA felt like it was a big enough, if it's off enough that it needs to be repaired or fixed.
Okay, thank you. I didn't want you to have to do a tap dance, but that's...
It's all right. Yeah, I know that's, again, that was, all we did was just basically show what was found or what is in place at the time, and we're the lucky ones that found it. I don't know that we have to repair it. We're just kind of showing what we found in the field.
I guess my next question is, to be accurate, you'd have to show the easement and the sewer line lying outside of the easement.
And that's what is shown on the plat, correct?
Mr. Chairman, I have not seen that letter to Angie, so I don't know exactly what it says.
How do y'all want to proceed? Do you have any strong feelings about it one way or the other?
Again, I know that we're just kind of wanting to get the property lines established so that transfer of property can be made, that easement. We've just kind of opened up a can of worms that really wasn't even related to our intent.
Yeah, it would be if it'd been in the roadway, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Call the roll.
Mr. Tyler.
Aye.
Ms. Crecilius.
Aye.
Mr. Feldsing.
Aye.
Mr. Shadle.
Aye.
Chairman Manchester.
Aye. Oh, you have the Paducah Freight House, City of Paducah waiver.
Yes, I do.
Another problem of building where something wasn't.
Yeah. This must be the night for it, right? I move that this commission receive and file the application of the Paducah Freight House LLC and the City of Paducah for the proposed re-subdivision of property located at 300 through 310 South 3rd Street and 255 Clark Street. I further move that the requested approval be given in compliance with all other applicable provisions of the Paducah subdivision ordinance be waived.
Second.
Cecilius seconded. Discussion. Apparently they're willing to give a strip 8 by 109.5 feet to the city.
That is correct. A little bit of history. Several years ago, prior to the construction of the Four Rivers Center, Clark Street was closed. That right-of-way was split and reverted back to the owners.
Excuse me.
As the city started planning for the Carson Center, they decided they would like to have that right-of-way back, at which point it was either deeded back to them or they purchased it. In that interim, the Chief Paducah Antiques, or the former owner of that, had erected a HVAC system in that area, and consequently he dedicated all that he could, but retained a strip that his HVAC unit sat on. Sometime after the construction of the parking lots and so forth there, that HVAC unit was removed and sidewalk was built through there. And standing on the street, you see there are no encroachments. However, that section of sidewalk is on private property. And the new owner does not wish to have public sidewalk on his private property and is willing to dedicate that back to the city now that there are no encroachments on it. Also, you see Tract O, that is still retained by the city of Paducah, and they're wanting to dedicate a tract to right away as well. And the original copies that I have with me bear the mayor's signature.
Any other questions? Thank you for explaining that to us. Call roll, please, John.
Mr. Feldstein?
Aye.
Mr. Shader?
Aye.
Mr. Tyler?
Aye.
Ms. Crecilius?
Aye.
Chairman Manchester?
Aye. Kathy, you have the sign regulation zoning text amendments.
I move that a resolution entitled a resolution constituting the final report of the Paducah Planning Commission on the proposed text amendment of the Paducah zoning ordinance by amending Section 126-76 sign regulations and Section 126-173 Board of Adjustment be adopted.
Second.
Second by Shadle. Discussion.
Mr. Chairman, I do have one comment on that. You'll notice in your staff report that it also mentions the B2T zone.
Yes.
We are still working on a permitted use list for the B2T, and we didn't quite get that nailed down to make it into the resolution or the motion. We expect that'll be at the next Planning Commission for the B2T. It's in your staff report, but it is off of the resolution and it is off the motion.
Okay. So we're going to have some more highlighted and red things.
Yes, sir, at some point.
Any other questions? Call roll.
Ms. Crecilius?
Aye.
Mr. Feldstein?
Aye.
Mr. Shadle?
Aye.
Mr. Tyler?
Aye.
Chairman Manchester?
Aye. Any other questions, discussion, anything to bring up? I declare we're closed and adjourned.